it's definitely not the same as cricket. I think when I look back now, I just look at how fortunate I was as a cricketer and how fortunate guys still or are that are playing, that are still playing. Um, there's no real set hours in cricket. I mean, I remember we get to training 8 o'clock, maybe 8:30, 9, and then you train and you're home by 1 o'clock. Some guys are teeing off by 12, 1 o'clock on the golf courses, so practice is even then shorter. Um, so I look back at those years and I think, yes, hey, lucky, eh? Jeez, we were lucky. Um, now I sit in office and I get these messages like, tea time tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Are you available? And I'm like, I've got work. And I've just been messaged earlier by Henry David's asking if I could play golf tomorrow morning. And I said to him, sorry, I can't. Just life doesn't work like that anymore.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Stumped. My name is CS Chiwanza as always, and joining me today is former South Africa international player, Dolphins star, Sarel Erwee. Sarel, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to get this little conversation going. I know it's been a while since we've done something like this, so it'd be interesting to catch up a bit on what's happening both on and off the field.
Sarel, nothing says retired quite as much as playing the Legends tournament. Watched you there. I think you did your tours last year, but then this year you were fully in. How was the experience?
Yeah, look, I think that the best part, excuse me, the best part of what the WCL was about was getting the guys together again, or getting, well, for me personally as a younger retired guy and younger than them, just to be able to interact with them and share a field with them. The legends, and if I think about Avey, Jacques Callis, Jacques Rudolph, you had Maury there, JP Doormany, Hash, Imran Tahir, those are not names that people get to share field with often. So for me, it was, I went there and I just wanted to lap up everything they said, listen to all the stories. So it was a great experience off the field, on the field. I mean, we just saw what Avey did. Avey's just a freak. I mean, for him to come back at the age that he is now and to be able to do something like that was, to see it for me personally, seeing it live was just incredible. Hearing the sounds of the bat, that he still got it. It's just, it's scary. Honestly, superhuman. So it was a wonderful experience, and I think a nice little itch for me to scratch. So close to when I retired, if you know what I mean. I didn't wait for it for ages and for years before I scratched the itch. I try to scratch it as soon as possible. And a lot of us were talking about how it's actually quite nice that we could play cricket and it's not your job anymore. Because I can imagine all the pressure. Well, you stand on the field and you're batting and there's pressure. But now imagine that being your job, where there's repercussions. I don't think the guys miss that part of it.
That is something that I was thinking about, that, it sort of takes people back to the teenage years when it was playing for the love of it and you just have a good time. That's quite the feeling you had, right?
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, you get to share the field with some incredible human beings, incredible cricketers, and when you start first playing cricket, it's like there's no pressure. You're just going out with some mates. You're going to go whack a ball, throw a ball around, and the odd chirp here and there, and that's what it felt like. Again, playing without any of that pressure. And in front of crowds as well, when there's no pressure, seeing how much they're enjoying it, when you're enjoying it, it was just, it was like you mentioned, it's like, it feels like you've gone back. I'm going to say 10 years, but it's a bit longer than 10 years. It's almost, let's call it 25 years to 30. When you were a kid playing for fun with your mates. And that's honestly what it felt like. And that's why I think we did so well. We spent so much time together off the field in our little team room and had laughs, stories, and it was obviously all over cool drinks. But it was just, it was just so much fun. Like I said, it felt like I was a kid again. Just no pressure, and I could just go and enjoy, a bit of cricket with some absolute legends.
One of the things I was thinking about your retirement was that I do not think it's something that just sprung up. You have been preparing for this for a while now, and am I right?
Absolutely. I think it started, I'm going to say, unfortunately, it started, the seed was planted in my head by myself about 2 years ago because of a certain couple of situations that happened in my cricket journey 2 years ago, and I kind of just took a step back and I just thought to myself, look, if it's happening now already, I should probably prepare myself that when my contract comes to an end, that's going to be the last day. So yeah, I used those 2 years to kind of tap into my contacts, and the one was with one of my sponsors, Always. And just had a conversation with them in terms of how I can gain some job experience, if I could come in and just see what the corporate world's like, see what they do on a daily basis. And that's basically how the journey started for me to end up where I am now. So it wasn't an easy 2 years to accept that, in 2 years' time, in 24 months' time, you are not going to be playing cricket again for a living. Life's going to change a little bit. But there was a little bit of comfort knowing that you are kind of stepping into an area where, life changes, you're going to make personal changes, and it's the start of a new journey, where most of my life was just cricket. Since I left school, it was just cricket. Now it's like, I've basically a whole book. I've completed the whole book of journaling or reading a whole book, and I get to take that book, put it in the cupboard, open up a new journal or a new book, and start from page 1. And here we go. This is you for the rest of your life with a beautiful family. So that for me was the exciting part about finishing cricket and planning for the day I'm done with cricket. Is just, it's going to be something fresh, something extremely new, which, in all honesty, you shouldn't, as a person, you shouldn't be nervous or scared of it. It's going to happen as a sportsman. It's going to happen at some stage. It should excite you as long as you prepare and you've planned for it. And
when I started to talk to you, maybe 2021, you mentioned that you worked with Kirsten, Dr. Kirsten, and she has also done a lot of work on preparing for retirement and stuff like that, walking away from professional sports, because she has had her experiences, and so people who've struggled to make the transition after their playing days are over. How much did the work that you did with her help you as you started planning forward?
Yeah, look, Kirsten's very knowledgeable in that field. She's obviously been through it. She talks about it a lot. She mentions it a lot. So I think from her side and having the chats in the past with her, it was more about being aware that your professional sports life is going to come to an end, and you've got to make sure that even before it comes to an end, that you are ready for that next step. Because, like I said, it's a new chapter or a new book that you've got to now write in. So the chats that I had with her, it was basically preparing me mentally more than if you want to call it physically, in terms of going and doing job experience or going and studying or something like that. She just planted the seed in your head and kind of followed up and made sure that you kept thinking about it. It wasn't just words and, oh yeah, we're going to do it, but nothing ever gets done. It was always I'm going to plant the seed, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to water that seed and see if you've done anything about it. So yeah, like I said, she's very pro preparing people for life after professional sport. And her kind of wise words got me thinking and got me, preparing for this stage that I'm in now. So obviously very grateful for my interactions with her, and I try to keep in contact with her as often as I can, just to kind of discuss things going forward. So she's very cool in that department, where she's always available for people.
How difficult is it? Because this is a different life. For the past 20 or so years, you knew that you had specific routines. You had to do gym. You had to be in the net, spend a certain number of hours. You had your program laid out in your head. You knew what was expected of you. But now, corporate world is vastly different. Yes, there's expectations, there's hours, but it's not quite the same. How has this adjustment been for you?
Yeah, it's definitely not the same as cricket. I think when I look back now, I just look at how fortunate I was as a cricketer, and how fortunate guys still are, or are that are still playing. There's no real set hours in cricket. I remember we get to training 8 o'clock, maybe 8:30, 9, and then you train and you're home by 1 o'clock. Some guys are teeing off by 12, 1 o'clock on the golf courses, so practice is even then shorter. So I look back at those years and I think, yes, lucky, jeez, we were lucky. Now I sit in office and I get these messages like, "Tea time tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Are you available?" And I'm like, I've got work. And I've just been messaged earlier by Henry David's asking if I could play golf tomorrow morning. And I said to him, sorry, I can't. Just life doesn't work like that anymore. So the adjustment has been more mental than anything else. Like you said, in cricket, you've got routines that you formed over years of being involved in a professional environment, sporting environment. You kind of tick all the boxes that need to be ticked every day. And I think it's what I'm learning now in the corporate environment as well, is that it's similar. You've got your hours. Yes, they might be longer, and they might not be as active, but you've also got a routine. There's a routine where you come in, you check your emails, you might have a couple of meetings, and you get your work done. So it's trying to now adjust to that type of routine. It's not the routine where I can, you're just talking a bit of rubbish at warm up, and then you're hitting a couple of balls, and you're throwing a couple of balls, and walking around or jogging around. Here it's like, we have to basically, keep the economy going. So it's taken some adjusting, but like I said, I think you fall into a routine here as well. You get used to a routine. It's more mental adjustment than a physical one, to be honest. And if you look at my physical ability at the moment, I haven't done much. I haven't run, I haven't jumped. So I've put on a bit of weight. So I need to find that routine of trying to make some time to get into the gym now as well.
But the cool thing though is because you have a young family, you now have time, and that's something you never quite had as a cricketer. I mean, this week you're playing here, the next you're playing there. You spend the season living from a bag, so there's that to look forward to.
Absolutely. Um, I was just, I get asked to play. I've got asked to play club cricket, and in this 2020 Castle Lager batch that we have in Durban at the moment, and because I'm involved in coaching a school team as well, the first team. I'm now going to be busy in the summer with cricket on a Saturday, and then I think to myself, look, you've part of your decision not to play professionally anymore, to retire, is also that you've got a young family. You want to spend some time with your son because you don't really get that much time during the week. When I get home in the afternoons, it's literally feed, time, bath, sleep. So there's such a small amount of time that I get to interact with him. So I want to do that on weekends, and I'm now fortunate enough to be able to do that on weekends. So that's the plan, and going forward is make the most of my weekends with my family. They've had to watch me travel and be away from them for ages. I think it would be a little bit unfair for me to now go, work long hours in the week. I'm also going to stay away now the whole weekend, being involved in cricket. So I think that would be a little bit unfair on them, especially when they're so young. A lot of people say, "Oh, but they won't remember you being away," and all that. But that's not the point. I want to be a good dad. I want to be there for my child. I want to watch him take his first steps. Unfortunately, because of cricket, I missed his first steps, so I've missed that. I want to be there when he runs for the first time, when he catches his fish for the first time, when he kicks a ball for the first time, when he, all these small things. I want to be able to do that instead of just being like, oh, when he's 6 or 7, we'll do it together, and then we'll kind of make up for lost time. I don't think I'm not really that type of person, and I don't really want to be that dad as well. So I've kind of said that I'm going to make the most of my weekends. Now that I'm not playing cricket, I'm not away for such longer periods. So I'm looking forward to it. To be very honest, it's gonna be really cool to do some things that I haven't been able to do over the weekends. I might pinch in a little bit of golf on the weekends as well, early morning. So we'll see. I'm not too sure how happy the wife will be, but. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Might have to drag them along.
Let's go back to your career. One of my proudest moments was when you made that 100 for South Africa, and it's something that we can try to visualize, like myself, try to visualize as a writer. But I can never capture the feeling. I can never capture the moment perfectly. And I never asked you about it. But what was it like? You reach a century. And I think this is what every youngster wants. Century for my country. What was the moment like? And afterwards, when it all sunk in?
Look, I think firstly, it was, when I look back on my career, and everyone always speaks about how proud they are of me getting a Test 100. And I think that for me is like one of the standout things, how it's, that's what gave people, a bit of happiness or a bit of pleasure, is knowing that, that they supported me, and they, they followed my career, and they were so stoked when that happened. It wasn't like, oh, you had such a great career and you played for so many years and you did this and that. It was just like everyone kind of like knew what I could do, knew what I could have achieved, that I could play for South Africa, and I could, I'd proven myself to be able to perform at that level. And I think that's the most satisfying thing is knowing that people back me and people are so stoked when that happened. And then getting to that moment, I mean, the feeling you have crossing a century or getting a century is it's almost like everything just slows down for a couple of seconds, and the emotions of everything that's happened in the past, all the things that you've done in the past, like everything just flashes through your mind so quickly, and it makes you like kind of realize the how big that moment actually is, if you can kind of like, if you can picture it for yourself. And I was batting with Aiden at that time, and a lot of people were calling for me to take his place, and there was, I mean, myself, him, and Dean we always spent a lot of time together, but there was never a case of we being like, internal enemies because of where we were batting. It was always, I mean, and huge gratitude to them, where they took me under their wing. They're so experienced, so they helped me through the start of my journey, getting into the Proteas setup, right to, I suppose, the end. And batting with, like I said, when I reached that century, batting with Aiden, it was just like who better to have there? Yes, I could have had Dean there, but who better to have there than Aiden or Dean? But obviously Aiden was there, and who better to have there when I reached that milestone? The guys that took me under their wing, so like I said, it's like for a couple of seconds, everything, and it's a remarkable feeling. Like everything just slows down for a couple of seconds, and you like everything just but it flashes in your mind, like everything that's happened, all the emotions throughout the years, and you can finally carrying this weight of expectation and wanting to do well, all eyes on you. It's like all that just like lifts, and you can actually really appreciate and celebrate that moment. So it was I mean, if you look how I celebrated, I was just like, I was so stoked. I was almost in disbelief that it actually happened. And yeah, I mean, if you watch that video again and you see the elation, it's just, like I said, it's like weight off the shoulders, and almost, I think I almost surprised myself a little bit as well, that I could actually do this on the biggest stage.
You mentioned Dean and Aiden, and one of the things that I noticed from afar was just how you had this brilliant relationship with both. I mean, Dean, I think I remember at some point the media asking him something, and he just goes out to bat for you. And then with Aiden, you guys won SA20.
Look, yeah.
How was that season, being champions?
Well, look, I don't want to sound too arrogant that we did it twice. It was so good once, we had to do it twice. But yeah, like I said, Dean is like that. He's that guy that when you go to war, he's that guy that will, you pick him first, you take him with you, 100%. He'll fight to the very end. He's that type of character, and I think that's why he's had still having such a successful career. If I look at how well he's doing now in the UK as well, and hopefully, I don't know, in years to come, hopefully he can add that type of value, or he can use his expertise and what he's achieved in his career to also impart that knowledge onto the cricketers to come. I mean, it would be such a waste, or such a loss, should I say, if we somehow, Cricket South Africa doesn't get him involved in some form or in some capacity. I mean, guys, yeah, I mean, he's one of the most successful, well, in my eyes, openers, in South Africa. And we all know how difficult it is opening the batting in South Africa. And for him to do it so well for so many years for South Africa, during tough times as well, just shows what type of person and character he is. And then, obviously the SA20 with Aiden, I mean, that speaks for itself. We've just seen what he's done now, or what's just happened at the last SA20 auction. I mean, that amount of money is not just, yes, he's a hell of a cricketer. He strikes the ball so well. He's the type of cricketer that you want in your team, but also he adds that value of being a leader. Calm and composed character on the field. He's got that mindset of if this is how we're going to do things, and you go about it. If I see it differently, then we'll chat about it, and we're going to help you along. But there's never any sort of panic as a leader. He's got clear plans, and he interacts with the people so well. Everyone loves him. He's a likable person, and like I said, that the amount of money they bought for him, yes, great cricketer, but I think because he's such a good human and such a good leader, that I think DSG have really, they found a leader that could get them over the line in this next SA20, to be very honest. And that's what you need in your teams. If you've got a great leader that can keep you composed with good plans, I mean, that's like a 12th man basically on a cricket field. So I'm very excited for him coming to Durban. I've already spoken to him, and there'll be a couple of bras and a couple of evenings where we'll have a couple of cool drinks. So yeah, really looking forward to catching up with him again.
So now that you're a civilian like the rest of us, is it DSG for you, or you still have a bit of a feel for your former teammates at SEC?
Sure. I haven't actually thought about that, to be very honest. I wanted to see the makeup of the teams before I decide who I'm going to support this year. Some people might say, "Oh, but you've got to support the Sunrisers, and that's how it's got to be. You were there for 2 years, or whatever it was." But I think with as life goes on, things change. There's so many people. I've got friends that are football supporters that change teams every year. Look, I don't know. I'm gonna have to give it a bit of a think and look at the team's makeup. But I think like you mentioned, I might be leaning a little bit now towards Durban, a little bit. Obviously, just because of the makeup of their team, and there's some local boys in there now as well, which I think it's clever. I think in the past a lot of teams get their combinations wrong because they try to get certain players in certain areas that are not their strengths. So if I can use an example, trying to get half-old players to go play in pole. I mean, that's not all of them are going to come off. You're going to have one or two come off, but it's going to be a struggle. And I think that's maybe what Durban have got right this year, is a good combination of coastal players and half-old players. Because it's easy. I mean, remember, I'm now that armchair critic, so I can express my view now as a non-professional that won't be judged or abused now on the field or by commentators. I'm this armchair critic now, but I just feel that it's a lot easier to bat up on the half field. People can just swing and you get away with it. You blink sixes.
Mhm.
Cool. The half field players come down to the coast and all of a sudden they get caught on the boundary and they're like, oh, why? And conditions are rubbish, blah, blah, blah. But you got to make up your team is important. You got to chuck in some coastal players in your makeup because the wickets aren't as quick as they used to be. So
Mhm.
yeah, I know I'm drifting off the topic here, but I'm leaning a bit towards Durban just because there are some local boys in the team, and obviously led by Eddie.
You mentioned that you are doing a bit of coaching, so you are not totally divorced from the game,
No,
and probably will take part in another Legends tournament if you feel the itch. But where are you coaching?
yeah. So look, I'd love to stay involved in cricket in some capacity. And I just felt when I was approached to coach, it was, and Nanti Haywood is the director of cricket at Northwood Boys here in Durban. And he approached me and asked me to please, come and help, come and coach. So I said to him, let me give it a think and I'll let you know. And I decided to join them because I feel their values and their morals that they have at the school are of the highest standard where they're trying to turn their boys into good human beings. It's not just about your cricket results, which is brilliant. And that's what I think. It's my personal opinion. I think that's brilliant because once you can teach or once you can instill that into young, let's call them young men, if you can instill those type of values or values where you trying to turn them into good human beings, I think the learning process then in sport becomes a lot easier because one, they want to learn, they will listen, they will implement, and they will accept failure as part of a process. Whereas, and I'm not saying other schools are doing it wrong, but if winning becomes the only thing, I don't think there's a learning process. I mean, I've watched a lot of school sport, and when winning becomes the only thing, um, kids start to throw their toys, make excuses, and it just becomes chaotic, and then it's difficult to control as a coach or as a school. I think the values you learn the wrong values because when you leave school, you don't become a professional sportsman. You go into the business world or into the corporate world. How are you going to deal with not closing a deal or not having a good day? If you've already learned to throw your toys at school by not winning a game or not getting it your way, unfortunately, it's not going to work outside of school or in the business environment or wherever you are in the world. And the same as a professional cricketer. If you were a professional sportsman, if you just want things your way and you're spoiled and it's just about winning, 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 how are you going to handle failure? I think that's a huge thing in our young society at the moment where we just instant gratification. I've played a couple of games, I deserve to play high. Scored a couple of runs, I have to. And if I don't get that, then it's like coach doesn't like me, selector doesn't like me, etc., etc. But we never kind of look internally. So to get back to Northwood, when I heard about that, I was like, cool, that's something I'm in for. So I'm coaching their first team, and then we do a bit of skill stuff with their lower age groups, which has been really, really fun. It's a nice way to still be involved in cricket, and I feel like I kind of like I owe it to cricket a little bit, to give back. These kids, they've watched me and they respect what I've done, and I owe it to interact with them and to help them, aspire to be someone like or cricketer like me, or another professional cricketer. So it's been good. It's been good fun. It's been interesting trying to adjust to that as well because, in the past it was trying to help the younger guys at the Dolphins,
Mm.
and sometimes it doesn't always go through. It always goes, maybe it goes in one ear, it goes out the other, and there's always a lot of voices.
Mhm.
But now at school, it's kind of like coach. We listen, we implement, or we try, and that's all you want to see is you just want to see effort. But saying that, a very talented group that I'm working with, and it's actually really exciting. I think there's going to be there's one or two boys that I'm going to keep. If I stay involved in coaching, who knows, something could change in the next couple of months. If I don't stay involved in coaching, I'm definitely going to keep my eye on one or two boys. I think there's some of them could really reach some heights in the years to come. So it's exciting for me to scratch that itch, being part of a cricket environment where I'm not playing but actually coaching. Um, and then hopefully, like you mentioned, hopefully I can play in a couple more Legends leagues. There I think it's not about really scratching a cricket itch or playing itch. It's more about being able to go and go and enjoy cricket again. Go and kind of like enjoy being with friends, like I mentioned in the beginning. Go and enjoy being with legends of the game that you used to watch on TV that you don't get to spend as much time with. Um, so that's the big part of me is trying to just, I don't know, almost close the chapter by having fun. It was I mean, the last 2 years of my cricket career wasn't fun at all, unfortunately. Um, and I can now say that now that I'm retired, and if people take offense to that, then it is what it is. But I didn't enjoy it. There were obviously certain things that happened and certain things that were going on inside, but it just wasn't fun anymore. And that's not how I wanted to remember cricket. So I think now playing in this WCL where it was fun, hopefully more tournaments to come, which will be fun. That's how I want to remember, or that's how I want to almost close that chapter. So it's exciting.
The good thing, I'm selfishly happy that you are at Northwood because I cover a bit of school cricket, so I can always come through looking
Yeah.
for for leads on youngsters to write
Mm.
about, and so I'm happy about that one.
Yeah, there's some really,
Uh,
I must say, there are some seriously talented, there's a couple talented so the great teams that we have now, there's one or two boys there that I'm like it excites me. Like I haven't seen, I know technique's not the be all and end all, but the technique and the striking ability is just, I mean, I think the last time I saw something like that from a personal perspective was probably Dave Miller and Riley Rousseau in our age group all those years back. So to see this now, I'm like, sure, this is quite cool.
you spoke of the Legends uh, tournament as just going out to have fun. I did see quite a few videos. AB was posting them on his Instagram, but
Yeah.
I quite like the banter you had with Pangi when he
Mm.
decided he was the captain. But
Yeah.
but what was your fun moments like? The few moments that you can say, "Whew, that was fun."
Yeah. Look, I haven't. I've always played against Pangs, and we've never really interacted much. It's always like we walk past each other on the cricket field, and it's like, "Hello, how are you doing?" That, and I spent a bit of when I say I spent a bit of time with him, it's like we interacted a lot more. We had a lot more chats during this trip, and like what a lovely guy. Like what a nice guy. He had such good banter. We all like we just interacted, and these are the things that we don't experience when you professional cricketers. Well, I don't think in the past. I think now you do because of all the leagues, so everyone interacts all the time. but that was something that like we didn't do in the past. So to be able to get to know Pangs a little bit more was just awesome, and that bit of interaction and that banter that was caught on the video was exactly kind of the kind of like chirps and the banter that the guys had throughout the whole trip, and the fun moments. It was just just us being normal guys, normal retired cricketers that spoke about old times and the stories that come with being a cricketer off the field, on the field. But the favorite ones for me were, I mean, how cool to sit and watch AB destroy bowling attacks. But you sit there. And there were a lot of times where I was like, okay, I'm into bat next, but I'm just like, how cool would it be to not actually go and bat and just be able to sit, not in the stands, but I'm sitting here and I'm watching this guy, and he's on our side because I've seen him do it against us a couple of times against the Dolphins. But how cool is it to watch this guy just destroy attacks as a teammate? So that for me was I mean, that's part of the fun. And but to top it all off was just our evenings in the team room as a squad together was just the laughs. I mean, the clown in our group was Chris Morris, and let me tell you, if anyone needs glorified assistant coach or just someone to keep the spirits up, Chris Morris is the guy. He is the guy. I've dealt with Maury before, played a lot against him and that, but I've never kind of seen that side to him. He's one of the funniest guys I think I've met now. And Maury he entertained us every evening. There were music videos put up. Maury would dance, Maury would sing, Maury would tell jokes. Maury was he honestly was the clown. He was the clown of our trip, and I think that's what made it so cool, is everyone fed off that. And yeah, that was just, I mean, those are the moments that I'll remember, is that, in our team room, every evening, that was us. I don't think we ever went out. We never kind of like, guys, tonight we're going to this restaurant, or tonight we're going to this pub, and that. It wasn't like that. It was in our team room. Every night we bonded, we had food, we had drinks. It was just, and credit to the team owners for organizing it like that, so that it almost like not forced you, but it made you stay in the hotel instead of going out. Where things can get a bit disjointed, and then who knows what can happen, trouble can happen or whatever. And so imagine AB now trying to go out one night, like. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. It's not going to be a fun night, because he's going to be bombarded by people, and then everyone's going to be like, they're in our space, and we just want to have a good night. And so, like I said, credit to the owners for organizing in that way, and credit to Maury for just being Maury and keeping us entertained the whole trip.
I don't know if I'm misremembering things. I kept trying to think about it. Did you get run out in one of the matches?
Oh, first game. Now I'll take you through this. I'm sitting on the side, and I'm like, I've got JP Germany here, I've got Hashim Amla here, AB de Villiers, Imran Tahir, all the big names. I'm sure I'm missing someone, and I do apologize. Jacques Rudolph and that. Sorry. And I'm sitting here, and I'm batting 4, and I'm going, batting 4, like in this team, I'm batting 4. Like, this is like, I was so nervous. I felt so much pressure. And AB hits a long hop to cover, and now everyone's like quiet. It's like, oof, the star of the show's gone. I walk in, and it's like, next in, blah, blah, blah. Crowd just gives a little bit of who's this guy type of clap, and I don't think I've ever been so nervous. I was so nervous batting. Firstly, because because I think I had one net session or two net sessions where I maybe hit 60 balls. So I was a bit undercooked. And then obviously two, you've got to step up here, and you're playing with big dogs. You've got to step up. You've got to show your worth here. And batting really nicely. Like I was surprised myself how nicely I was striking the ball. And then JP came in. I think it was his first ball. Inside edges it kind of, and I thought, oh, it's landed like a couple of pitches to so he's left-handed, lands a couple of pitches to the right, the bowler's never going to get there, like, we'll take a single. So I call him through, and before I know it, I think it was Sheldon Cottrell, I think, he sprints, and I can, like, see him, he's, like, almost in line with me, so I start panicking, and I'm like, actually, it'll be okay, he's not gonna pick the ball up and run me out, like, it's fine. I mean, you saw the run, kicks the ball onto the stumps, and it's a big celebration, and I'm just like, really? Is this how I'm gonna get out my first game after batting so nicely? Like, I've been looking forward to batting here, got over the nerves, and this is how I get out. I mean, that was just, I've hardly seen that ever happen. So, not a nice start to my tournament. But quite a cool ending to the day because I've never been involved in a bowler. No, I think the last one I remember was India in Durban.
Mm-hmm.
All those years back, I think in a World Cup.
But well, I think I made a mistake when I said at the start of this episode that nothing says retired as playing a Legends tournament. Nothing says retired as being run out by people who.
Yeah, being retired, getting run out. Everyone goes, oh, he's put on weight, he's slow now, and I'm like, no, I've always been slow. It just wouldn't, like you said, it just wouldn't be retired if you don't get run out. You have to get run out.
Oh man. My final question, because I have to let you go, is besides AB, at the Legends tournament, who are your top 3 betting partners?
I'll tell you what, I've always been a huge fan. I mean, excuse me, but left-handers always look classy. And I've always, when I was younger, I loved watching the likes. If we're talking South Africa, I loved watching the likes of obviously Graham Smith, and Jacques Rudolph was the other one as a left-hander, Ashel Prince. And to then, when I heard Jacques was joining us a bit later, so he wasn't there from the start. We had we had injury and a pull-out, so we had to got 2 guys in, and I then heard Jacques coming, and I was like, no wait, really? And he, one great human being, like stories that he was telling, the tone that he speaks in, like really grips you, like keeps you engaged in the conversation. And he's just such like I said, lovely human being, gentle character, great, also very funny in his own way. But then I watched him bat against, I think I batted a couple balls with him against India. I think it was India. And the way he was hitting the ball and where he was hitting the ball, I think he walked off that, I think it was like end of the innings, and we all walked upstairs in the change room at Nottingham. And we get in the change room, and Jacques goes, guys, and he hit one from outside off. He hit one with a proper clip, but it was way outside off, and he stepped across and he clipped it through mid-wicket and went for 4. And we were all like, jeez, that's unreal. Anyway, we get up to the change room, and he kind of just goes, guys, shot of the tournament. And everyone had a bit of a giggle, but he was also just class. Watching him go about his business as a batter, I was just like, I think to myself, and I go, these guys retired way too early. Like, like I've just retired, but I've retired, but these guys are better. When I was still playing, they could have still, and they retired. They were still better than me. Like, how's this possible? So he was one I was very excited to obviously see. Fortunate to bat with him, and yeah, I don't think he batted very much or a lot in the tournament, but just to watch him that one innings, I was just like incredible. And on our own team, obviously, another one was JP, another left-hander. I've just got somebody, I've got a soft spot for left-handers, I'm not sure why. He was also just class, the way he struck the ball. And then I'm trying to think of the other teams. I was excited to watch Chris Gale, to be honest, but he just never came off. It would have been quite cool to watch him ping it around, or ping the other bowlers around from other teams. Would have been quite exciting to watch. It could have been some huge scores then, but yeah, there were some serious cricketers, some serious batters going. Some of the Pakistani guys, how they were hitting the ball so clean was scary. I think when AB destroyed England, one of the opening bowlers, I can't remember his name, but AB hit him a couple of times, and then it's like the speed just got a bit quicker and quicker, and his run up got a bit longer and longer, and everyone was like, "Phew, okay, he's obviously taken that to heart." Yeah. Another one, and shock, another left-hander was Sean Marsh. Like I've watched Sean Marsh and just loved his technique and his temperament, and also when we played against him and watching him, I was in awe. It was just so cool to watch these guys. Like I said, most of them are left-handers, but I've just got a soft spot for left-handers. So very fortunate to watch them, and very fortunate to have shared the field with these guys.
Awesome. SJ, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Stumped. I've had quite a bit of a laugh and enjoyed myself.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. I've got to go catch up on work. Our idea products aren't going to sell themselves, eh?